You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. S16 Film Festival, which was established in 2021 by Surreal 16 Collective, is celebrating independent filmmakers and unique films from Africa, the diaspora, and world cinema. Joining us now to have a quick conversation about all of that is Abba Makama, who's a co-founder and festival director of this festival. Good morning, Abba. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
Sunday.
It's a pleasure.
All right. So it's the 4th edition of the S16
Yes, sir.
Film Festival. All right, so we're returning with what you call a new wave cinema and a few other things. Tell us what to expect. Has it already started, or are we right in the middle of it, or is it just about starting?
We are right in the beginning of preparations. We start on Tuesday.
All right.
And our opening film is a film by a renowned filmmaker, Rungano. It's called On Becoming a Guinea-Fowl. It was at Cannes Film Festival earlier this year, and she won the Best Director prize under Uncertain Regard. So we're very proud and excited to bring such a prestigious film to Lagos as our opening film. Plus, it's
that's on Tuesday?
Yes, on Tuesday. Plus, it's also distributed by A24, which is like a really big deal. A24 is like a major production and distribution house from the United States.
Absolutely, and Uncertain Regard is like the next after the main competition.
Oh yeah, after main competition.
So that's big.
You go. Uncertain Regard is a big deal. Yes.
Wow, but if you're bringing that to, I'm sorry to say, a small cinema, like a 120-seater place.
Yes.
Will that do justice to the magnitude of the type of film you're opening with?
I mean, it's a start, you know. Like, we often refer to our festival as a mom and pop fest, and it's always about quality over quantity. And with time, we're going to expand to more venues. We're already speaking to partners who are giving us spaces. There's potentially the National Theatre and some of the cinema houses as well. But again, remember, this is our 4th edition. We started in a tiny, abandoned building in Lagos Island, the government printing press. And our first event was like 200 people. Now, for 4 days, we pull about 2,000 people. So there's been exponential growth.
That's progress.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love the fact that you said there's been exponential, big growth in your industry at this moment. I mean, given the fact that only recently we're talking about Netflix maybe pulling out of Nigeria or investments in the film industry. How are you guys managing with that?
Well, we've always been kind of an alternative. So we've always found ways to generate revenue or explore different markets. I mean, the cinema world is a big place. So you have markets in Asia, North Africa, Europe, America. So we've always been able to tap into these markets. So we're not solely relying on the big players. I mean, myself, I've distributed a few films on Netflix, on Prime Video, but I've also done Canal Plus. I've done airlines. And we also, a lot of our films travel, so they show at a lot of international film festivals. Now, if you have a good film that screens at over 50 film festivals, there's a lot of money that also is generated from screening fees, from prizes. A member of our collective, Mike Omonua, from I think, 12-minute short film, won about 20,000 euros from just that picture. So there's different avenues and ways to generate revenue.
He's one of the three founders.
Of the collective, absolutely.
The three founders are yourself?
CJ Obasi and Mike Omonua.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're also talking about highlighting, like smaller film makers, particularly from Africa. I remember I attended the one last year, and I was just so impressed by the short films that I was seeing. And you have very young, up and coming directors there. So what motivated you guys to start this festival?
We really wanted to give a platform to people like us, because when we started, we formed the collective in 2016. Now, the collective is different from the festival. The festival started in 2021. We started as an alternative to mainstream Nollywood. we made films that couldn't get distribution in the cinema, and we understandably, they were niche, they were quirky, but we found an audience outside the country. CJ won a prize at Sundance. I've gone to TIFF and BFI. Between the three of us, we've actually gone to almost every major A-list festival in the world, and we've also screened at like AFRIF, but our audience has been always outside. So we decided to create a platform for younger filmmakers who don't necessarily fit into the umbrella of mainstream Nollywood. And there's so many of them out there, and those are the type of people that you'll see at our screenings.
That's great. Where would you say your biggest market would be? I mean, since you say
It depends. So for a film, like I did a film about an Igbo ancestral spirit called The Lost Okoroshi. This was in 2019.
Oh, you made Lost Okoroshi?
Yes, I did make Lost Okoroshi. And my biggest audience is in Brazil because of African spirituality. They're really tapped into that. So like it's been invited to several festivals there. And even when it was released on Netflix, the amount of fan mail I've been getting from people from Brazil has been really amazing. People saying that the film has actually even changed their lives, spiritually, and kind of connected to their roots, Yeah.
All right. I like the fact that you mentioned CJ Obasi, who's, one of the three founders, like a good self, for the collective. CJ's movie, Mami Wata,
yes,
represented Nigeria for the Oscar bid last year.
Yes.
But of course, rather sadly unsuccessfully. This year, Mai Mataba is taking over to represent Nigeria.
Yes.
I see in the news that part of what the producers are doing is to raise awareness. They've been to the Vice President, they've been to the Honorable Minister, Musawa, and they're trying to say that without lobby internationally, you can make a headway.
Absolutely.
What advice would you, given your closeness to CJ and being part of the Mami Wata, I believe, thing, what didn't you do well, and what would you advise the Mai Mataba team to do in learning from your own experience, so that maybe, possibly for the first time, we can at least have a shot at the door, even if we do not get a nomination, maybe a shortlist, for example.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't, with regards to Mami Wata, I think CJ did what he could do, and he did it extremely well. He, by the time he got to Sundance, he had the backing of CAA and Gotham Agency, and they did their best in campaigning. But we also have to understand that it's a very competitive game. Really? So you can do all the campaign you want. At the end of the day, there's a selection committee. There are people with their own opinions on what is supposed. There's the politics around it. So you do your best, and fingers crossed.
So what's your advice to Mai Mataba?
Do your best, and fingers crossed. But we do need support from the government as well. I know right now the Minister of Arts and Culture has been doing extremely well. Herself and one of our colleagues, Abba, who's a special assistant. They've been doing a lot of stuff. I know they just got back from Brazil. They're trying to push this co-production treaty between Nigeria and Brazil, and also India as well. So kudos to the government for moving us forward. It's slow, but we're getting there.
Yeah, and kudos to you for expanding the independent filmmakers. Because I mean, without people like you, I mean, those voices will not have been heard. And I'd like to know what more you're doing in terms of expanding their roles, or even what you're doing for this festival. What else are we going to expect in that?
I mean, so the ultimate goal is to establish S16 to be kind of like the Sundance of the continent, like the biggest festival that spotlights unique, independent African voices and brings world cinema to the continent. But we also want to set up a distribution platform. So the way you have cinemas that exhibit mainstream Nollywood films, it would be nice to have at least one or two cinemas that can bring all these so-called art house films or indie films, alter films to the cinema, and not just put them in the cinema for a week or 2 weeks. put them for a month and let there be substantial marketing budget. So people, because it's one thing to make a film and put it in the cinema, but if people do not know that the film is in the cinema, nobody will go and see it. It's also the same thing with going to a festival. You can go to TIFF, you can go to Cannes, you can go. If you do not have a PR team, you don't have a PR budget, nobody will come to your screening, you know. So there's that aspect of it. We want to get into distribution. We want to expand the scope of the festival, like you said, from one cinema hall to multiple, and we're working around the clock on that.
Yes. I want to ask you a quick question before we go, because I remember there was a movie, I think it was something called Monday, but it was about the sit-at-home orders in the East. I watched it last year. And I think more than anything, that short film...
Quiet Monday, yes, by Dika, a very promising young filmmaker, yes.
That film has stayed with me, and more than anything has influenced how I look at the suffering of people who are dealing with insecurity in the Southeast. Now, is there any... One, do you have like specific criteria for the types of Nigerian movies that you show? And two, if there's one film you feel that people need to see at this year's S16, just one, which one would it be?
Okay, first of all, criteria. CJ is the head programmer for the festival. I'm the festival director. But I think at the end of the day, we know what we don't want. So we're always just in the lookout for something fresh, original, and something that hasn't been done, you know. I think that's the main thing. And then I can't say, I mean, everything, this year specifically, I mean, there's been so much buzz about this year's festival because the lineup is so good. We have On Becoming a Guinea Fowl is what I want to see, because I've been a fan of Rungano since her first film, I'm Not a Witch, which was a BAFTA nominee. And Dika also has another film this year called The Good Wife. And there's so many. Like, I want to see everything. Please, just come and watch everything.
So that will be Tuesday to Friday
next
week.
Yes.
Where?
At Alliance Francaise.
Okay. And how do people get tickets?
It's free. Just come register and walk in, you know. Okay. And we also have talks. We have panels. We have conversations. We have a delegation coming from Locarno Film Festival. That's another thing we've done. We've partnered with Locarno to come and announce Locarno Open Doors, which is like a incubator that allows filmmakers to come and develop their projects. There's someone coming from Monstra do Cinema, Africanos from Brazil. Her name is Ana Camille. She's going to do a talk on festival strategy. So we've expanded the scope of the festival. Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So briefly on the special themed party that you'll be having, will that be on Friday? I saw it in your initial lineup.
Yes. That'll be on Friday.
What should we expect?
I'll keep it a secret. Just come.
He already knew it was Friday. He just wanted an invitation.
He's covered. He's covered.
We're wishing you good luck.
Thank you very much.
We hope that you continue to succeed with your festival.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Makama. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And have a great festival.
Thank you so much.